Welcome to the existence changing experience that is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. Now, I'm Pastor Walker, your pastor, founder, teacher here, your guide to spiritual excellence and evolution. Certainly, we give honor to the Creator of all for the life spark that we have. Another opportunity to come together on Zoom in fellowship and the Word. I'm grateful for each and every one that joins in with us on Zoom. And for those that view these videos, I've got posted to YouTube. I just humbly ask that this video or the videos on my channel are a blessing to you to please like, share, and subscribe. We're grateful for the inspirational ministry as we continue to share videos of inspiration and enlightenment, because the whole purpose, the whole premise is to give us an awakening, an alarm, or a caution sign in this life so that we can not only ward ourselves or defend ourselves against the techniques and tactics that are exercised against us, but that we could grow intellectually, spiritually, remember, and ascend out of here and move on to the higher realms. I certainly want to invite those of you that view these videos on my channel. And again, I ask that if this video or the videos on my channel are a blessing to you, to please like, share, and subscribe, especially share, because this information is good information. And if you're taking the time out to view it, then I'm pretty sure that there's someone in your life that you feel that would profit or benefit from the information that's being put out. And if for those of you that want to be of a financial gifting to this work, you can cash app us at money sign IBSHC. That's money sign the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. We started out talking last week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and affirm in, and then we're going to just go ahead and dive in. Creator of all, we give all esteem and praise to you. We thank you for the life spark, for the ability of animation of this vessel, for the empowerment and eternal stability and upliftment of our spirit man that is just outside of this realm, that lives on in eternity. We're grateful for life situations and circumstances working out for our good. As we have transitioned into this secular new year, and this being the first teaching of January of the year, we're grateful for the opportunity that we have lived up to this point and are able to experience the great things of life that are intended for us. We humble ourselves and confess that we have no sin, and any transgressions against divine law, universal law, we repent that we may align, ascend, and be empowered. I humbly ask that you would think through my mind and speak through my mouth those things which are beneficial for the edification of those listening. As I open myself up, I release any fears or any hindrances. I open myself to my higher self, and I welcome the wisdom of the ancients, of the ancestors, the angels, the universal energies, and spirit guides. And I know that this information will benefit those that hear. And I believe that it will grow therein. All things done with gratitude. And I speak these things in the name of the Most High, that it may come before the throne. I speak these things in the name of the Creator, that it may come before the throne of the Most High. So be it. Again, welcome to the existence changing experience that is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. Again, I'm Pastor Walker, and it's my pleasure to give you the word as it is given unto me. As I started to say earlier, we started with this message, and it's going to end up a series, at least 2 to 3 videos, because I don't like to rush the word, and there's a lot of information that I'm inspiring to put out so that you can be fully aware of this life, fully conscious, and live a conscious life of intention, not one of control, not one of ignorance. And so we started out talking about rituals, and last week we defined it, and we began with one of the most popular rituals, which is Christmas. And I said that we were going to pick up again today with Santa Claus as we went from Christmas's inception, what it really came from, all the way to its commercialization. So those of you that have your Bibles, your books, your iPods, iPads, laptops, desktops, Samsungs, however you're viewing this video and however you view the word, I'm going to ask you to go with me back to your scriptures, to 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. We're going to read verse 17 through 21. And it reads, "For we, being many, are one bread and one body. For we are all partakers of that one bread. Behold, Israel after the flesh, are they not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar?" And we answer that question, yes. "What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to God, or Yahweh, or Allah." Excuse me. "And I will not that ye shall have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink of the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and the table of devils." Now, Rob Shaul or Apostle Paul has written that he said that, but for those that unwillingly, unknowingly, or unknowingly really, willingly partake in rituals, are eating of the Lord and the devil's table. Because you're not aware. If you're not aware, then how do you know that you're eating at the devil's table? And when it's talking about devils, it's not talking about no man in a red suit. It's talking about those that are of adversity, those spirit beings and those human beings that are exercising these rituals to control the masses and to fuel the energetic feeding of the entities that they have made a bond with. Just because you're not aware that you ran the red light when you get pulled over by the policeman, don't mean you're not guilty of running the red light. You weren't paying attention. Or the stop sign. That's an easier one. Just because you ran the stop sign because you didn't see it does not mean that you're not guilty of running the stop sign. That's why when they pull you over, they give you the ticket. And when you say, "Well, I didn't see those stop signs," they'll point you back to it. And then you be like, "Oh man, dang, I ain't even see that stop sign." But you're still guilty of running it. Just because you don't know that you're partaking in a ritual does not mean you're not guilty of the energetic origin of it, the energetic exchange from it to the deity that it uplifts. That's why nobody in religion can say that, "Oh man, I worship God, I worship Yahweh, I worship Allah." But if you partaking in these rituals, you worshiping more than just God, Yahweh, Allah. Because it's not just the big three. Because I'm gonna get into the big three today. I'm gonna get into them, but it's all kind of rituals. It's all kind of systems that are set up in this life to make you against your will, with your will, unknowingly observe energetic rituals. See, the elites know this, and they do certain things at certain times, okay, because of the energetic exchange, because of the significance of that date and time. Just like the presidential inauguration, they do those things in alignment with rituals, the timing and the date. There's a certain significance in the universe as to why they choose those times and dates. It's the same thing with these rituals. So, for those of you that this video, if you came to this video first, feel free to go back on my channel, Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness, and view the first video where I go through the different types of rituals. I define what a ritual is. we're going to pick back up today because we just came out of so-called, and we just finished another ritual that I'm going to talk about today. But we're going to finish up Christmas because in commercialization, all right, Santa Claus marketing was brought into play by the late 19th century. And see, what a lot of people don't realize is that Christmas was actually outlawed in England and a lot of parts of the world because of the rituals that was carried out, because of the actions that was carried out. It was considered lawlessness. Excuse me. It was only brought back in by those that were empowered for control and financial gain. But one of the key instruments of Christmas or symbols was Santa Claus and them doggone Coca-Cola polar bears. Now, the polar bears came into play when Coca-Cola was struggling, and they decided in their commercialization of Christmas to bring those polar bears into play. And those polar bears are still making them money to this day. But Santa Claus was the big flagship for commercialization. Now, think of the premise of Santa Claus, an all-knowing being that knows when you're sleeping, know when you're awake, know when you've been bad or good. Children are actually terrorized into being good because they don't want Santa Claus to see them acting bad. And in my day, they used to say that if you tried to stay up and see Santa Claus coming, that he would put coal in your eye. I mean, like a black charcoal that burns, or put it in your basket. I mean, in your stocking, and not leave you nothing. Now, I found out that Santa Claus wasn't real one night. I stayed up all night looking for Rudolph and fell asleep looking out the window. And then my brother Daryl was tasked with putting me in the bed so they could put my toys out when I finally woke up, because I stayed up all night looking for Santa Claus in the clouds. You leave him an offering of cookies and milk. And he had a helper named Krampus that was in charge of chastising the bad kids. And they still do the Krampus festivals in Australia and in Germany every year. But people too scared over here in the United States to let Krampus loose. Being with horns and a long tongue, running through the town, scaring all the daggone kids. Introducing trauma to your children at an early age. And lying. And you have Christians and the like all over. Well, you know, Hebrews and Muslims ain't gonna pretty much, some of them will acknowledge Christmas, but you teach your child how to lie early and then get mad at your child for lying. Come on, man. So let's take out the significance of Santa Claus. Santa is an anagram of Satan. And the same letters just scrambled. Now we know Satan represents Saturn, the god Saturn. Okay, we talked about Saturn last week. These festivals, including Christmas, were designed to lock you into a particular frequency. The same frequency, just different names. The same dates, different names. Your body does not respond to spirit, though. It responds to rituals. And we already know rituals is basically doing the same thing over and over and over again. Solemn, feast, whatever. Go back and listen to the first video. I defined it. Collective emotions collapse reality faster than individual intention. That is why it is so important for them to get everybody on the same frequency. And it's crazy how people can be at odds. They can be honorary and mean all year long, but yet after Thanksgiving, when they hear boom, boom, in, boom, boom, in my mind, ooh, I want you to be free. Excuse me, I got a bit of a cold. But I can't hit that temptation like I want to. But as soon as they hear that Christmas music, ding, 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 ding. And now you're finding out that Jingle Bells ain't even about Christmas. It's about slaves. They just hide that mess right up under your nose. And you be around here, jingle bells, jingle all the way. They talking about the slave with the daggone tank around the neck with the bells on it, so their master can hear them when they're trying to run away. Rituals. But collective emotions collapse reality. When you can get everybody believing the same thing in the same frequency, you could create anything in reality that you desire. They do it with the news. They get everybody all afraid so they can achieve their agendas. Just to find that, just like COVID-19 was a way for them to implement and get nanites and all that stuff into your body. And they were talking about the effects of COVID-19 creating sterility. Now, they got COVID-19 medicine over the counter. Vidi told me that the other day. I was like, man, that's crazy. But they take you through these rituals to achieve their agenda. When billions of people feel the same thing at the same time, it creates a massive electromagnetic field effect. Now, the ancient civilizations used rituals to lock timelines and reset populations. They're still doing that. You're the most spiritually vulnerable. You're the most spiritually sensitive to suggestion during the winter solstice, during the Christmas time, because your guard is down, because you're trying to be good. Peace, love, and goodwill towards me and all that kind of stuff. That you don't even see the okie doke coming. Christmas is frequency engineering. You're sacrificing your energy to the god Saturn. To the which, even you in Islam, the Kaaba stone represents Saturn. Hebrew Israelites, Shabbat on Saturday represents Saturn. Seven-day Adventist, seven-day Sabbath, Saturday, Saturn. Rituals can only control you when you don't know you're inside of them. That is why I'm here to inform you of the ritual. Now, what you do after you get off this video, it's up to you. It's your life. Excuse me. I'm just here to make you aware so that you can live a conscious life of intention. Now, another prime example is the Super Bowl. The elites use the Super Bowl to practice rituals to show their agenda in plain sight. The uninitiated or the untrained mind subconsciously receive programming unawares because they're not knowledgeable, of the symbols being shown to them. Now, some metaphysical benefits that are supposed that the ancients utilized rituals for: deep reflection, introspection. Okay, the long darkness acts as and this is during the winter solstice. This is not Christmas. This is not Saturnalia. This was the winter solstice. Okay, The long darkness acts as a sacred teacher, providing a space to review the past year and understand personal cycles and gain clarity. Because you're so used to being in a rat race. Oh, I got to get all these toys for Christmas. Oh, Thanksgiving. Okay. To the point that you don't sit down and take a retrospect of the thoughts and the things that you did in the past year. Areas that you failed at, areas you succeeded at, things you need to change. It gave some clarity on some things you were confused about. The solstice was also used to releasing and letting go. It was a permanent time to shed outdated habits, burdens, and emotional baggage to prepare for new beginnings. It was also seen as a time of cultivating inner light. Okay. As the sun reaches its lowest point, it begins to rise again. The solstice symbolizes the birth of hope and activation of one's own eternal spiritual light. This time of darkness was also for rest and rejuvenation. Now, y'all know y'all felt that pull on your physical man when that sun went down, and you were a lot more desirable of taking a nap. You were ready to take a nap, lay down somewhere for rest and rejuvenation. It promotes aligning with the earth's natural rhythm of dormancy, allowing the true rest rather than forced productivity. And then finally, intentional manifestation. This moment of potential is ideal for planting metaphorical seeds. That's, in other words, getting a vision for your life, for the things you desire to continue to accomplish or achieve. For metaphorical seeds, setting intentions and focusing on future growth. The solstice reminds individuals of their connection to the natural cyclical world, promoting a sense of peace and resilience. The truth behind the winter solstice is its supernatural benefits. They had to direct your energy for harvesting toward outward deities. The winter solstice. The winter solstice serves as a profound energetic pause, offering metaphysical benefits centered on deep introspection, releasing old patterns and fostering inner renewal as the longest night gives way to the returning light. It acts as a sacred time for hibernation, allowing for emotional, mental, and physical restoration, while encouraging and setting up intentions for upcoming lighter half of the year. Now, Saturnalia perverted this solemn time of the year. Saturnalia was not exclusively a sex festival by modern definition, but a week long from December 17th to 23rd, the winter solstice, because from the 23rd to the 25th, the sun is at its lowest point. It dies, and then it resurrects. It's in the belly of the earth 3 days, and then it resurrects. Jesus. Roman Winter Festival of inverted social norms, intense revelry, and widespread indulgence in, among other things, sexual activity. It was characterized by role reversals, masters serving their slaves, giving gifts, gambling, and open, uninhibited behavior. They just got wild. They just got loose. Among the other attributes of sharing during Saturnalia, there was an environment of libertine atmosphere. Libertine atmosphere. Now, libertine atmosphere means it was known for general license. General license. Saturnalia allowed for public drunkenness, gambling, and more fluid, open approach to sexual activity, including the increase of opportunities for same-sex encounters. Now, all of that energy, ritual energy, is encompassed in Christmas. Why? Because people get hotel rooms and have sex during Christmas time. People get drunk, they play games, They do all of this stuff. It's the same stuff that you're doing with your family and friends to a certain extent. And your what they call it? Your significant other. The same activities, just done in different ways. Same energy. Same ritual. However, no ritual is complete without a sacrifice to seal. So what are sacrifices? Sacrifices at, and everybody, oh, I wonder when he gonna give us some scripture. Keep holding on, take some notes, do some research. I'm gonna give you some scriptures. Sacrifice. Now, an act of slaughtering an animal or person, or surrendering a possession as an offering to God or to a divine or supernatural figure. Saturn. An animal, person, or object offered in a sacrifice. An act of giving up something valuable for the sake of something else regarded as more important or worthy. Verb. Offer or kill as a religious sacrifice. Something that you give up. A slaughtering. You slaughter yourself. You slaughter your children. Whenever you allow them to pass through the fire to Moloch, per se, and these rituals that you take place in. Well, I've been knowing about Christmas my whole life. Well, you didn't know about it your whole life. You were indoctrinated into Christmas. Just like your parents was indoctrinated into Christmas. And your grandparents was indoctrinated in Christmas. And your great-great-grandparents was indoctrinated into Christmas. You were passing on something that was thrusted upon you. And no one knew the true significance behind it. Why? Because they weren't privy to the books. They weren't privy to the culture that preceded them. Now we have books. We have history. We have a means of research and finding out things. And we're in the age of Aquarius. This is the unveiling of truth. You're sacrificing the energy and persons and souls of your children in these rituals. And it seems harmless because you were indoctrinated into it. But when you're looking for truth, you see the horror behind it. You can see the deeds that repeat themselves. Don't make yourself a slave just for traditional commonalities. Now, since you want some word, Exodus 10 chapter verse 25. And Moses said, thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings that we may sacrifice unto the Lord our God. So if sacrifices weren't important, then why did the Lord, our God, require one? That Moses get one from Pharaoh and from the Kemites or the Kemites, Egyptians, have you. Numbers 25 and 2. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bow down to who? Their gods. That's what the leaks are doing when they put you in the middle of these rituals that you think that are harmless. They call you unto the sacrifice of their gods, the beings that they made a covenant with, the archons, Pleiadians, reptilians, or whatever you want to call them, and make people bow down to their gods. You bow down. I don't care if you're a Christian in church. Oh, well, Christmas is about Jesus. No, it's not. No, it's not. Jesus wasn't born in no wintertime. No, wise men wouldn't have been in no field in the winter. Desert winters are very harsh. Not to mention, them wise men that travel, I said 15,000, but it was actually 5,000 miles in no 3 days to see no Jesus. Thanks. uh, Ray Higgins, the great doctor. Numbers 28, chapter verse 2. Command the children of Israel and say unto them, my offering and my bread for my sacrifices made by fire, for a sweet savor unto me, shall ye observe to offer unto me in their due season. Now, if the same person that says, thou shalt have no other gods before me, in that statement, acknowledging the other gods, requires a sacrifice, just like other gods require what? Sacrifice. Now, a sacrifice is an outward showing of a covenant. It is the key component that something, the key component is that something has to die. Now, the sacrifice is your mind, your soul, your will, and your energy or your emotions. Because you know that warm and fuzzy feeling you get around Thanksgiving and holidays from your sacral, your solar plexus, to the which you manifest from. Mind control rituals is basically what this is, what these are. In an abusive context, have profound and damaging psychological effects, primarily leading to the severe trauma and fragmented sense of self and a long-term mental health disorder. Now, you can not believe that believing in that Jesus was born on December 25th when he wasn't, when there was no Jesus. That was a figure, okay, that they named Jesus when the Catholics decided to create Christianity, or Yahweh Shah, Yahshua, Yehoshua, and all them Yahusha and all them Shuas. It is mind control, and it creates severe trauma, fragmented sense of self, and long-term mental health disorders. Believing in something that's not true is a psychological disorder. That's just like you walking around with an imaginary friend. It's real to you, but don't let nobody else see your imaginary friend. They think you crazy. Same thing. The deliberate manipulation and exploitation aim to break down a victim's autonomy and create dependency and compliance through fear. He knows when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, here comes Santa Claus. Compliance through fear, isolation, and repetitive conditioning. You do it every time you keep these rituals. Oh man, my kid's gonna have a fit if I don't get these toys for Christmas. And then you go into debt to get all these toys for these marketing companies, and then you spend the other 364 days woeing because you got to pay the debt off, or lights and get cut off, and rent don't get paid to satisfy the children. Psychological mind control involves techniques that manipulate an individual's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without their consent. That's why these rituals are set up this way, often resulting in altered beliefs or submission. Common examples include gaslighting to introduce self-doubt, isolation from support systems, guilt tripping, and using intense fear for love bombing to break down resistance. This time of year is used for acts such as these, especially in relationships. And the person gets bought out with all these gifts, and then the trauma begins. And then a person's life begins to spiral down. Why? Because of psychological mind control. Now, let's take a closer look at these words. Gaslighting. Gaslight, a manipulator makes the victim question their memory, perception, or sanity to gain power. For example, a partner consistently denies that events occurred or insists the victim is too sensitive, causing them to lose trust in their own judgment. When your gut is telling you something's wrong, trust it. Then you can't fall victim to gaslighting. Gain control over your emotions, and you can't fall privy to gaslight. And if you got to, keep a written record, dates and times and events. Coercive control in relationships, a persistent hidden pattern of behavior designed to dominate, such as controlling who a person speaks to, isolating them from family, or monitoring their movements to diminish their autonomy. Now, religion does this. If they don't keep the Sabbath like we keep it, if they don't follow Jesus, we gotta cut them off. Why? You didn't come here with Jesus. You didn't come here with the Sabbath. You were told to do those things. You were made. You were indoctrinated into those things, those behaviors. Cult indoctrination. Cults often use systematic brainwashing, including isolating members from society, controlling their information flow, and using hypnotic techniques to force adherence to new doctrines. Church, religion is definitely the key in this. Why you think that Sunday is the most segregated day of the year? And the Sabbath too. Holidays. If they ain't doing it like we doing it, we don't need to follow fellowship with them. I don't like their leader, so we don't need to fellowship with them. Or their leader is disrespecting me. We don't need to fellowship with them. Your family don't like it. If your family don't like your leader, you need to cut them off. Boy, you got some winners in this world. But they utilize this to gain control over you. Rituals, man. Emotional blackmail, using threats or punishments. For example, if you leave, I will kill myself. To force someone to act against their own desires, inducing intense guilt. You ought to not have fine cars and houses if your leader ain't got those things. You need to take your leader need to be taken care of first. You need to have faith and don't pay that bill. Pay your tithe, pay your offerings, so that your leader can be taken care of. Yeah, foolishness. Foolery. But people fall victim of that every week, every month, every year, because you have leaders in position to exploit. They use tactics and psychological means to rope you into guilt and all of this other stuff to make you believe to the point that you harm yourself, when self-preservation is supposed to be first. Because if you can't help yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, how you going to help and take care of somebody else? Excuse me. And then a lot of those leaders will turn around after you've given your all, will turn around and talk about you and dog you in front of the church, the assembly, the synagogue, the mosque. Well, I ain't heard Islam do that so much, but some of them same leaders will embarrass you for your lack when you took what you had to make sure they had. That's why we got to break these cycles, man. We got to destroy this stuff. Emotional blackmail. Guilt tripping you into doing sacrifices and doing what they want you to do, and you harming yourself, trying to make sure they good. Love bombing and positive reinforcement. Oh, they will do this too. A manipulative tactic where excessive affection, praise, and attention are given to those to create intense emotional dependency, often followed by cold, abusive behavior to make the victim work to regain approval. Religion, religious leaders, pastors, they do this to the utmost. I ain't gonna say all of them do, but some of them actually do have a heart for the people. But for the most part, taking the people out, buying them gifts so that they can create some type of what they call allegiance to them. Isolation and exhaustion brainwashing. Techniques used to force attitude change, such as separating individuals from social support, enforcing strict, demanding routines, and using exhaustion to weaken the cognitive defenses. Now, I know y'all saying, well, how he get on the psychological stuff? I thought he was talking about rituals, because these rituals and these events and things that are taking place, especially in religion, line up with these psychological tactics. And if your mind is untrained to be able to see what's going on, you will fall prey to these tactics. Systematic propaganda and fear menticide. Now, the government is good for using this. That's why they have paid actors to show up on scenes for in so-called destruction cases. The use of mass propaganda to spread fear, suspicion, and false information to control the beliefs of a large group, historically linked to totalitarian regime. No, I'm not sorry, excuse me. Totalitarian regimes. Examples: the church, the mosque, synagogues, news, entertainment. Every first Sunday in most churches, communion is done. Communion rites are the final preparatory parts of a Christian Eucharistic service, focusing on receiving the body and blood of Christ. Now, that is cannibalism. Whether you want to see it, if you eating the body of a person and you drinking their blood, it's cannibalism. I don't care about them little wafers and little grape juice things, cups. And some people use actual wine. But it's the symbol, it's the representation of the body and the blood. That's cannibalism. So every first Sunday you participate in cannibalism? Because Jesus said, if you don't drink my blood and eat my body, I have no parts with you. Use a lie. But you fall into the indoctrination every week. Focusing on receiving the blood and body of Christ and include the Lord's Prayer, the sign of peace, and breaking of the bread, fraction rite, with the Lamb of God, Angus Dei, or Agnes Dei, D-I-E, or D-E-I, the moment of communion, receiving the Eucharist, and the prayer after communion, all designed to foster unity with God and the community. That's what it says. But when you look at the actual communion itself, eating the bread, drinking the wine, body and blood, it's cannibalism. Now I know y'all don't want to accept that, receive that. Why? Because my grandmama and my granddaddy, the great Reverend Jake Braxton, taught that we should drink the blood and eat the body of Christ. Yeah, I love my granddaddy, the great Reverend Jake Braxton, but he only taught according to what he taught. I love my daddy, the great Reverend Oscar Walker Sr., but he only taught what he was shown. But his son and grandson, the great Pastor Oscar L. Walker Jr., a.k.a. Hanakia Ben Yahweh, is here to reveal the truth, to bring you into a newness of life. This is my era that I was born in, to bring enlightenment and truth. 1 Corinthians 11:26 says this, but for as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death till he come. So I got to eat his body. You know, when you eat the body of a dead person, that's cannibalism. I can't get away from that. Some other rituals. Again, we just got done. I mean, it's just so-called 2026 when it's really not 2026, because the original months, it was 13 months, and all the months had 28 days. And the Romans decided to come in and change the months to 12 and gave you off day months, including a freaking new leap year. Where the heck does a leap year come from? When everything was designed perfectly with 13 months, 28 days each. But I'll be your huckleberry. We just came into so-called New Year's, because this is the secular New Year according to the Gregorian calendar. But the actual New Year is in the spring, when new life begins. A new year begins. Okay. So, New Year's Day, Happy New Year. But New Year's Day, or the Festival of New Year's, is actually the Festival of Janus. Okay. The Festival of Janus, to the which they got January, another god. Primarily celebrated on January 1st, and during the Agonium on January 9th in ancient Rome, honored the two-faced god of beginnings, endings, doorways, and transitions. It marked the new year with the offerings of wine, incense, and cakes. It's called January. While Romans exchanged gifts, clean homes, and sought good fortune for the year ahead. Now, some key aspects of this festival. The significance. As the god of transitions, Janus was worshipped to ensure smooth beginnings for the new year, new projects, and for the Roman army, successful campaigns. Now, we were taught we need to cook some collard greens and some black eyed peas for success for the new year. Now, that's a ritual that was passed down through our forefathers and our parents, and so have you. Okay. Now, the only thing that determines your prosperity and success for any year is you. You don't need no collard greens or black eyed peas to determine that. But it's a ritual unto Janus. The date. The main celebrations occurred on January 1st, calends of January, and the Agnalia on January 9th. Now, the rituals were this: offerings. Romans offered libum, a type of cake, and wine to Janus. Gift exchange. People exchanged stringe, or gifts, right? Dates, stringe, which is made of dates, figs, honey, and coins. Okay, they had all that put together. Or those were the different gifts that were given to ensure a prosperous year. Egonium, January 9th, a specific, often mysterious sacrifice of a ram was made to Janus, possibly to appease him. Now they got us screaming, counting down, screaming, Happy New Year. Now the symbolism. Janus is depicted with two faces, one looking back in the past, one looking forward into the future. His shrine, the Geminus, or Gemini for the twins, has doors that were open during war and closed during peace. While ancient Roman festivals are no longer practiced in its original form, it is the direct ancestor of the modern New Year's celebration and the naming of the month January. Additionally, the term Janus is sometimes used for modern culture events such as the experimental music club night in Berlin or Mardi Gras activities in Louisiana. Now, I'm not going to go through, I guess I can. That's January. Okay. Now, the next big that ritual that we've been taught to keep, that nobody knows the beginning of, Lupercalia. Lupercalia, the first Valentine's Day wasn't called that. It's likely grew from the Roman pagan festival of Lupercalia in mid-February 13th to 15th, fertility celebration for gods like Phanos, which the church later linked to the Christian martyr Saint Valentine's feast day, February 14th, to Christianize it. See how the Catholic Church bring this stuff in and got everybody keeping this, baby? They Christianize it, with romantic traditions developing much later in the Middle Ages. It didn't even start out as a romantic holiday. It was a fertility holiday. Now, February 13th to 13th to 15th was in ancient Rome. They celebrated this. A fertility festival honoring Phanos, a god of agriculture, and Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome. Romulus and Remus was believed to be twins that were abandoned and raised by a wolf. They sucked the titty of a wolf to survive. Oh, the breasts. Let me get that correct. The breasts of a wolf. Now, Christian influence. Saint Valentine. The church placed Saint Valentine's feast day, February 14th, around the same time as Lupercalia, possibly to replace it. No, they wanted to incorporate that energy because the Roman Catholic Church is still on some pagan stuff. They always been on it. Early associations. For centuries, the connection between the connection to love was weak. Saint Valentine was a martyr, not a romantic figure. Romantic traditions emerge. Medieval times. To link the romantic love solidified in the Middle Ages, notably by Geoffrey Chaucer's poem, The Parliament of Fowls in 1382, which connected St. Valentine's Day with birds choosing their mates. Name confusion. Another day was Galation's Day, in lover of women, might have been confused with Valentine's Day, further blending love themes. So while Lupercalia was an early festival, the name Valentine's Day and its romantic traditions evolved over centuries from these pagan and Christian roots. So when you buying them gifts, going out to dinner and going to the hotel to get it in, All you're doing is reenacting Lupercalia, keeping the fertility, okay, ritual going. And then as a result, and then this is the other thing with Lupercalia. During Lupercalia, the men will paint the women colors. This is where them Easter eggs come in at. And the women will run around and men would chase them. And it didn't have to be your wife. They would catch the woman. After they catch the woman, they will have sex with the woman, impregnate the woman, right? And now, fertility festival, right? So after these women would have these babies, they would take these babies and sacrifice the babies and use their blood to color their eggs. To the which of the next season that we getting ready to go to, the big three, Easter. That's where your Easter egg coloring comes from. The sacrificed blood of babies from the Lupercalia festival the year before. Easter has pre-Christian pagan roots as a spring festival celebrating the rebirth and fertility linked to the goddess like Estra or Ishtar or Ostara or Ishara. She's in the Bible. With traditions like eggs and bunnies symbolizing new life through though the Christian holiday commemorates Jesus' resurrection, which was the Passover per se, not Easter. Adopting the timing of some symbols as the church integrated pagan customs. The name Easter likely derives from Estra or Ishtar or Ishara or Asherah. It's in the Bible. While the timing coincides with the spring equinox, a significant pagan celebration of light and renewal. Now, it was only deemed pagan after the church came into play. It was a natural festival for the spring equinox. But I'm going to tell you the true history of where Asherah, Ishara, Ishtar, all that come from. In the Bible, you had a man called Nimrod, which was a mighty hunter before the Lord and was uniting the people, okay? His mother / wife, Semiramis, okay? She made up a story that she came down from the moon in an egg. After Nimrod was killed, just like the story of Isis and Osiris, she had his male member resumed. She got pregnant from one of her servants and said it was Nimrod that impregnated her, or the moon. Or the sun. I'm sorry, the sun. No, I'm not sorry. Excuse me. The sun impregnated her, and she had this baby. And from there, I forgot the baby's name, but he's a god too. That's worship. I'm gonna have to look that up. But she gave birth to this child, supposedly immaculate conception, but it wasn't. And she began the people to worship and utilize the eggs and the bunny rabbits because her son was in love with rabbits. Look up Semiramis. You'll find the story. Look it up. I ain't telling you nothing I haven't seen myself. I might be a little cloudy on the details because it's been a while since I looked at it because it just came back to me. But that's where your Easter come from. It ain't got nothing to do with no resurrection of Jesus, Yahweh Shah. That was during the Passover. But it was all the spring equinox. All of it was spring equinox festivals. Estra. The word Easter is thought to have come from Estra, an Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring and dawn, honored with festivals around the spring equinox. The theme, these ancient festivals celebrated the return of the spring, fertility, new life, and the sun's return, aligning with the themes of rebirth and resurrection. Now, the eggs and the bunnies. everybody's favorite. You buying them chocolate bunnies. Symbols of fertility and new life. Eggs and hairs linked to Estra were part of these spring celebrations and later incorporated into Easter. The timing, the spring equinox, a time of balance between day and night, was a potent moment for pagan rituals. And the date for Easter is set around the first Sunday after the first full moon after the equinox. Now, Christian adoption. Integration. The early Christians often aligned their celebrations with existing pagan festivals, adopting the pagan name Easter for the celebration of Christ's resurrection, for which occurred around the time of the Jewish Passover or Pesach, and the Hebrew Passover. Notes the Billy Graham Evangelist Association with the name potentially related to the eastward direction of sunrise. That's why you had the sunrise services on Easter. Reinterpretation. The Christian focus shifted to Jesus' resurrection, with pagan symbols reinterpreted within a Christian context, such as the cross on the hot cross buns representing Christ's sacrifices. They made hot cross burns. Now, while Easter is a central Christian holiday, its deep roots in ancient spring festivals explain the persistence of pagan associated symbols and themes, leading some Christians to prefer Resurrection Sunday to emphasize the religious meaning. Spring Equinox Festival. Yeah, it got nothing to do with no Jesus, really. So the Passover might have came from that too. Because the Hebrew, there wasn't no so-called Hebrew nation. It's not that old. We're going to go into that one day. One day, very soon. I preluded to the Super Bowl being another ritual that everybody in the world pretty much. You know what? I didn't know so many people celebrated New Year's Day around the world until I sat up the other night and pulled that baby up on the TV, watching the fireworks from Dubai and Malaysia and all these other places. These places ain't got nothing to do. You know, well, they on the same calendar we on, so I guess so. But the Super Bowl is another one. It's another popular ritual to which the powers that be practice spells and magic. The halftime show is often utilized to practice rituals with certain themes and symbols. The Super Bowl halftime show is a highly produced, globally watched spectacle with established logistical procedures, which some conspiracy theories interpret as having hidden rituals. They do, involving occult, Illuminati, and satanic symbolism. Conspiracy theories also circulate online before, during, and after the show, interpreting various elements of the rituals or having hidden messages. Symbolism and imagery. Costumes, stage designs, and specific hand gestures are often analyzed and claimed to have occultic or satanic meanings. For example, The Weeknd's white robes and gospel choir were interpreted by some having religious resonance, while others saw Illuminati symbolism in Usher's performance. Artist messages. Performers like Kendrick Lamar have explicitly included subtle messages in their Super Bowl, such as game over, a message to end his set, or using the video game motifs, which leads to fan theories, a deeper interpretation, meaning these actual messages of social commentary or personal feuds can sometimes be confused with conspiratorial interpretation. No, they're not. Audience distraction. Some theorists argue that elaborate spectacles is a form of sorcery or divisionary tactics, which are used to distract the public from important world events and political issues. They are, because afterwards, after these rituals, when you look and see the events that take place and the bills that are passed and the laws that are passed and all this stuff, you'll begin to see this stuff. Now, I did this message not to keep you from enjoying your life. This message is about bringing you and I to a point of conscious living. It's about breaking generational curses and the sorcery being exercised on us. We must we must be aware that there are rituals being performed on us daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and so that we must break control of the powers that are ruling this world. We got to break their control. They set up the businesses with symbols and signs and colors, all right, to control us. They're practicing everything around us is a ritual, whether you want to believe it or not. But it's better to go into life knowing so that you can defend your mind, protect yourself, and not be a willing slave unawares to what the powers that be are doing. Romans 12:2 says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove that what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. But you can't do that being controlled by somebody else unawares. Y'all think I'm bringing this message to down your favorite holidays because you like getting it in on them holidays. When all I'm trying to do is show you their roots as examples to let you know that you're sacrificing your energy and your soul to these things when you partake in them. Now, I'm not telling you not to do it. It's up to you. It's your soul. It's your body. It's your mind. It's your emotion. It's your will. I'm just here to educate you, to make you aware so you can make an intelligent decision. Ephesians 4:23 says, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. That's all I'm trying to do. Is bring you to an awareness of consciousness. And for those of you that accept this word and apply it to your life and live consciously with knowledge and wisdom, Colossians 3:10, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in the knowledge after the image of him that created him. Then you're made in new knowledge. You are a new being, a being of power, authority, a being that can't be controlled, won't be controlled. But it's up to you to take a look at these things, to see the rituals that are being exercised, and to minimize your participation in it. Because I don't care how you change the name, you'll never change the origin. That's why I got into etymology. I don't care how you use a word, you're never going to get away from its original meaning. That's where the potency of the energy and the power is at. It's your life. Live it the way you want to live it. I'm not here to make you live no kind of way. I'm just here to bring you enlightenment and love, peace, and prosperity. This is a changing experience that is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. Again, I'm Pastor Walker, and it was my pleasure to give you this message. I thought it was going to be a 3 and 4. I'm glad it only stopped at 2. But it's up to you to take this information and build on it and govern your life accordingly. And let's affirm out. Creative all, we give all esteem and honor. We're thankful for this day. We're grateful for the information and knowledge given. I humbly ask and believe and pray that it will be received with gladness and that the research will be done and a conscious decision made. Now, as we depart from the Zoom, but never from your presence, we know that you're with us always, even as our ancestors, the angels, spirit guides, and universal energies. Thank you for knowledge, wisdom, success, understanding, prosperity. I speak these things in the name of the Creator, that it may come before the throne of the Almighty. So be it. May the Creator bless you and keep you. May He cause His countenance to shine upon you, be gracious unto you. May He show you His mercy and bid you His peace. Peace, love, and light. See you next week for more of the same. Thanks for tuning in.